So close. All right, everyone, it is 3:00 p.m., and I will call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Library Board of Trustees to order. If we could everyone stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I will open it up for public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll start with a roll call of members.
Tara Price Kritzmacher.
David Brakebill.
Kelly.
Joe Pederuti.
C.L. Quillen.
And CL, could we have verification of the posting of the agenda?
It's been so long ago now that I feel like I've forgotten, but yes, it was posted on September 18th.
Thank you so much. And we'll move on to item number 6, consideration and possible action, approval of the agenda as submitted or revised.
Motion to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And if all in approval, please indicate with an aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And we will move on to consideration and possible action, approval of the minutes from the meeting on August 31st, 2023. The meeting is in, or the minutes are in your packet.
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Brakebill. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And moving on to Library Board of Trustees reports. I'll start us off and say that today I was thinking about how magical the moment is where you open up a book by a new author and you read the first page or so and realize that this is exactly the kind of book you're going to love. And I had that experience today. It made me really happy. It is book number 55 since graduating from WNC back in May. So I am carrying my weight and the weight of Mr. Brakebill as far as circulation numbers for the library. Any other Board of Trustees reports? Not an eventful month. In that case, we'll move on to the library director's report. CL?
Well, I want to start with the statistics. And unfortunately, I got some clarification on how those statistics were being collected, which is not good news for our numbers. But it does mean that I will actually be able to get them corrected and posted, and we'll move on from there. Apparently, in the past with Polaris, it was collecting the statistics for both physical checkouts and for our Overdrive and Hoopla. But then we were collecting them separately and adding them together. So our numbers were quite a bit inflated from what they should have been for this past however long since we've had those products. So there is going to be a decrease in the statistics. I've been trying to get to the bottom of why the numbers just didn't make sense, and talking to the staff and hey, are we that much slower than we've been in the past? And I don't understand. And finally, I guess I asked the right questions and discovered that no, with Polaris, they were collecting all of those statistics, but then we were reporting them separately and adding them all together. So we will see a drop in our statistics going forward, but they will actually be accurate statistics as opposed to inflated statistics. So good news, bad news, I guess.
And that's just on circulation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. I am surprised to hear that Polaris was actually already aggregating all the different products, especially, it wouldn't even occur to me that Polaris would talk to Hoopla or to Overdrive. So, regardless of the drop in numbers moving forward, it's good that these are going to be collected more accurately. So,
Right.
it's good thinking getting to the bottom of that.
Yeah, well, it just didn't make any sense. And like I said, I mean, with Koha and Aspen, they can see what's in there, but they're not actively collecting those statistics where Polaris was. And I don't know why. I'd only worked with Polaris once before, and I wasn't involved in some of the statistics. So never occurred to me that that was a possibility until I was on the phone with Carrie going, but I just don't understand why our numbers are so much lower. And we finally got to the bottom of it. So that's the story there.
Just a quick question on that. Is that, so when we're looking at like total circulation, and there's the difference between 2023 August and 2022 August, it kind of looks to me like that's just a typo on that. Like there shouldn't be the one.
Well, it is a typo. It isn't a typo only because I don't actually have our physical circulation in there, because at the time that I prepared the packet, the numbers still look so off that I was seeking
Okay.
clarification on that. So
Okay, I got it.
that's actually only our electronic circulation. And you could see if we were reporting similar numbers, now that does include, a few things that weren't being counted, but you could see if we were reporting 2,500 items being checked out twice, that would definitely lead to some questionable numbers. So going forward, I will get the July and August straightened out so that they're accurate and correct, and get those for you for next month, along with the correct September numbers. We are still having some,
CL, one other question on that.
Sure.
So should we kind of clear the slate with the existing statistics so that we're not trying to compare apples to oranges? So when you rerun, I mean, it's almost not worth having the 2022 numbers here then, based on what you just discussed.
well, as far as for the circulation, no, the physical circulation, but the rest of it, depending on how much everybody's looking at, our programming and our gate counts, and those things are still going to be in there and should be accurate. So I think we just have to kind of not look at the physical circulation numbers until we've gotten through a year, and then we'll have a better method for comparison.
Is there a way to go back and clean up the statistics from last year?
I should be able to go back and clean them all up.
And that way, then we do apples to apples, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think I should be able to go back and clean them up based on the numbers that were reported. I have to double check with Carrie whether or not Hoopla was being reported. I know the Overdrive, which encompasses Sora, were being double reported. We've been still having some migration issues, but we had a really good 2-hour meeting this morning, and with quite a few people from Bywater, and I feel like we've now gotten a lot of the issues out in the open, and there's a better understanding on everybody's part, so I feel like it should be going smoother lately, which would be good because I'm tired of spending as much time as I've been on Koha. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library, they announced a couple of weeks ago that they were collaborating with United Way, and so that program is going to be available for all of the folks in Churchill County. It's a program where once the parents sign up, children will receive their own copies each month of a book from the time that they, from as soon as the parents sign them up until their 5th birthday. So Obviously, it's a little bit of an expensive program to run, and they were looking for the funding, but the United Way has secured the funding. They have been in touch. They want to do some sort of a kickoff celebration kind of thing here in Churchill County. So we've been trying to work with them to find a date. So hopefully that will happen very soon. But in the meantime, people can sign up, and I think it's a great program. Gives kids the opportunity to collect a number of books for their bookshelf.
So CL, will there be some funding required?
There is no funding from us required. United Way is picking up all the costs. They're getting donations and things. So it's just a matter of us it's really not even a library thing. It's just a good thing, I think, for us to promote and encourage. So we'll be promoting that with our story times and in other ways.
So along with that, it seems like maybe doing a flyer to go into the Books for Babies, for the birth program at the hospital, and maybe think of some other ways to cross-promote,
Yes.
like with the WIC office and, some of the other agencies that work with new moms or new families.
Right. We are looking at changing up a little bit the way that we do the Books for Babies, and I've spoken with the CLA since they back that. Because with everything coming, to parents in the hospital, we feel a little bit like it's getting lost in the shuffle, and it might be better to have a flyer that goes in there that says, please come to the library and, claim your bag, and this way parents can do that at a point when they're a little less stressed, and it doesn't just all go into, something and I have no idea where it came from, and, all those kinds of things. So we are looking at changing up that program. And it also ensures that people who are coming into the library and getting some interest, but yeah. We started our Spice Club, and I've been working with Kelly on that. And so this is an example. If anybody would like cumin, I've got one with me. They get a brochure, which Kelly put together with some information about the spice of the month and some recipes and some other things. And then they get a small packet or cup full of the spice so that they can test it out. And it's been going well so far with minimal advertising, because we were a little bit not on the same page as far as when exactly we were going to get started. So was in one of Kelly's columns, and we've started to promote it. We will have a new spice in the middle of October for people to pick up. You can collect them all. Also going to put together a web page with the brochures so that after the fact, if people want to learn more or are interested in a particular spice they weren't able to get to, they'll at least have that information. And we're encouraging people to share any cooking that they do, photos, comments, whatever. So hopefully, I think we'll get a good response from that once it really gets up and going. We did receive our collection development grant for the year. We received $7,120, I believe it was, which is an increase over previous years, so that's exciting. And all of that is going to go into ebooks, as we've done in the past. Jay requested to go to the YALSA Symposium, which is happening in November, and I applied for the travel grant through the state. I had to send them some additional paperwork because I didn't realize they didn't have some signature forms, but they have said that they will cover that. So we will be paying a small portion of it, but most of the cost of that will be picked up by the Nevada, So that's a good thing. The library co-op leadership retreat in Ely was super valuable. It was great to make the connections with some of the other directors. There were 12 of us there, including Carrie and Sue Lynn from the State Library. We talked a lot about grants. We talked a lot about COHA. Sue Lynn really encouraged us to apply for all of the grants that they're offering, because frequently with some of the competitive grants, they don't have enough people applying for it to truly be a competitive process. So I'm going to be looking into some to some of those opportunities, and definitely encouraging staff to take advantage of the travel grants, because there's a lot that can be learned at conferences. It's good to interact with other folks and get some ideas. And if we don't have to pay for it, or if what we're paying is very minimal, I think it's a value, as long as we've got the staffing to stay in the building to cover and do that. So yeah, I thought it was a good experience, and good to put names and faces together with some of the other people in the co-op.
CL, I'm sorry to ask you to back up one, but.
Sure.
The symposium that Jay will be attending, when is that, please?
That is the first, actually, I think it's the second week in November, and it's going to be in St. Louis. So she'll be leaving on a Thursday and coming back on Sunday. You're welcome. I just got back on Sunday night from the Association for Rural and Small Libraries Conference, and got lots of great ideas. The staff are probably going to hate me, because I'm going to be assigning them some things to do, and looking to work some more on some projects and things. Waiting for them to come in, but I did place an order for 3 memory kits, which can be used both with older adults with dementia, and just for older adults who want to reminisce about some things. So I put in for, they've got all different topics. They come with these cool bottles that are kind of a search and find. They've got some puzzles for adults, older adults. A lot of it is geared towards, the more elderly range, and people who may be starting to have some memory issues. So there's some paint with water that then dries up and can be reused, and some other resources like that. So I ordered a military kit, a kit about dogs, and a baking and cooking one, because we're doing a program next month with Mel at the museum, which is going to be a show and tell focusing on kitchen stuff. And so I wanted to try to show this off and have an opportunity. But there's lots of different things, and I think it would be a good resource for the community. We've had a lot of people coming in talking about family members with dementia and trying to keep them active and involved. So see how that goes.
And CL, those kits are something that it's contained in a box, and you can check out the box and
You check
take
out
it.
the whole
Okay.
box. Some of them have DVDs in them. Some of them have books in them with pictures. There's activities. I spoke to a few libraries who are using those, and some other ones that they've made in-house. There's a company that does kits that are for children dealing with issues like sexual assault, family members dying, pets dying, other things like that. And those, they actually provide the information so that you can make the kits yourself. So looking at some of those things, because they said, it's a very sad commentary on state of the world, but they did talk about how the sexual assault kit, and these are designed for young children, was one of the most popular ones that they've had. So it is very sad to think of, but having those resources available and in a way that people can check them out without feeling, like having to go up to the desk and, announcing to the world, that I've got a young child who's having to deal with this, and what resources can you provide. Having something like that, I think, makes it just much more accessible and brings things together that they might not have thought of, or, if they're trying to find things on their own. So lots of good ideas at the conference, and, money is kind of our only limitation. Budgets always do that, so.
CL, do you have a recap from the Books, Bites, and Beverages event?
I'm still trying to put together the finances, because I was hoping that Janine would have something a little clearer for us after the last go-round and interaction on that. So I think we've talked about it in quite a bit of detail, but I don't have the final amount of what we made versus what we spent. Hoping to give that to the CLA first, and then have it for the next meeting.
All right, are there any questions for CL about our library director's report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you, CL. The next agenda item is to set the date and time of the next regularly scheduled library board meeting. The meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 26th, 2023, at 3:00 p.m. at the Churchill County Administration Building at 155 North Taylor Street in the Commission Chambers. And moving on to old business item 1, consideration and possible action, approval of the library director's outside employment for a consultation fee.
Nope, that's,
Okay.
I'm not sure how
I-
that carried over, but that
Glad,
is,
glad to hear it. I'm like, I think we already did this.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So in that case, we'll move on to new business item 1, consideration and possible action to approve the monthly budget report. If I'm not mistaken, we actually have 2. We have the last report from the fiscal
Yes.
year. And have we already taken action and approved that previously?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we did in July.
I thought so too. Okay.
The only thing that we didn't approve with that was we
Ah.
didn't have the the library gift fund for the end of year, so that's included with this report.
Okay. Perfect. In that case, we will jump to consideration and possible action of the monthly budget report, specifically the month of August, which is in your packets. So if everyone could take a moment to review, let us know if you have any questions.
I have a question. Where would travel expenses show up on the budget report?
Travel expenses show up on, let's see, it's under operating. There is a line for travel and subsistence.
Yeah, it's on page 4 of 8.
4 of 8. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions about the monthly budget report for the month of August? If not, I will accept a motion to approve the report as submitted.
Motion to approve the budget report for the month of August as submitted.
Thank you very much, Dave. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the monthly budget report for the month of August as submitted. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes, and we will move on to the library gift fund report. Joe, on this one, Lawyer Joe, since we didn't have the gift fund report from the end of the fiscal year and now have it, would you recommend that we take a vote on both the gift fund report for the end of June as well as August, or do you think that just moving forward with August is fine?
Just moving forward with August is fine.
Thank you so much. In that case, folks, in your library packet, there is both a report for the end of the fiscal year that is provided for your information, as well as a report for the end of August. We will be taking action on the approval of the report just for the month of August. If there are any questions about the report on the last page of your packet, now's a great time. And hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the report as submitted.
Motion to approve the report as submitted.
All right, we have a motion from Dave. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Dave and a second from Tara to approve the report as submitted. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Mr. Brakebill, I think you got every motion this go-round.
Yes, he did.
Makes the minutes easy.
Congratulations on the clean sweep. And we'll open it up for a period of public comment. Seeing no public, I will call us adjourned at the fine hour of 3 o'clock, well, 3:25 PM. Thank you all so much.
Good job, Ken.